Welcome, everybody. Would you please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance? Today, may I be open to others' ideas and beliefs, respectful of our differences, not threatened by them. May I grow in understanding of my own motives, knowing that people often act out of their own fears. May I be a force for replacing fear with insight. Strength, real strength, always finds compromise. Working together, may we move forward to find a common ground, enable us to move forward with a shared purpose. May we see what is truly important and unites us, focusing on that to banish roadblocks of ego and fear. Today, may I be open to others' beliefs and ideas. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Once again, welcome. It's wonderful to see everybody here tonight. Roll call.
Mrs. Lingo?
Here.
Mr. Parsons?
Here.
Mr. Redding?
Here.
Mrs. Dosa? Here. Mr. George?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Here.
Mrs. Rissel?
Thank you. Everyone is present. Minutes from the September 17th meeting. Hope you've had a few moments to look them over. Would like to make, you want to make that correction, Bob?
Yeah, on the first page here, the third paragraph, Joe Bittner should be spelled J-O.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then down in the last paragraph, in the first line, it's the same thing, should be, those two Joes should be J-O. I only saw one other minor thing. Have a page number. Next to the last page, city manager's report. Fourth line from the bottom, that the city spent on demolition is paid back instead of made back. Should be paid back. That's all I have.
Anybody else have any corrections? Okay, then I would ask for a motion to adopt as printed, or as corrected, I'm sorry.
Make a motion to adopt the minutes as corrected.
Mr. Redding has made a motion.
Second.
To adopt as seconded. Mr. Parsons has seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Correspondence, I do not have any. You do have the July through September fire and EMS schedule in front of you. We will let the chief discuss that. So we'll move on then, and Police Chief Jerry Desheimer. Did I get it right? No. Guy Desheimer.
I hate to have to be the council because of this reason. Obviously, our city was affected by a senseless act of violence this weekend. Reginald Simpson, a complete innocent victim, was struck by a bullet, causing his death, and it's a complete senseless act of violence. There's really no reason for it. You hear the city of Cincinnati and other areas being rocked by gun violence. Unfortunately, here in Mount Healthy, we have not been immune to that. Mr. Simpson, from what we know about him, we met with the family. Just a great guy, hard worker, family man, and it's a tragedy. What I can tell you about the investigation is Mount Healthy Police Department is working with the Hamilton County Crime Scene Investigation Unit, which is, we call it a unit, it's more of a team. Our last briefing, there was no less than 15 people there that were assisting us regarding forensics, cell phone, crime scene canvassing. So it's a pretty impressive unit. Not that Not that Mount Healthy doesn't have the capability, we just don't have the capacity. And on situations like this, we have to reach out to our partners at the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department, who are more than capable and have way more capacity than we can, to make sure that we do what we can to hold the people accountable that were responsible for this senseless act. A lot of things I could probably go into, but what led up to this whole thing is, once again, senseless gun violence. We're still finding the reason behind it, but there really is no reason. It happened at Speedway, and shots were fired at an intended target. And when these bullets go, there's really no consequences to these people firing off these rounds. They have no idea where the background's going, and it's kind of scary because they're doing this without any conscience or any consequences. So we continue to develop leads and continue to do investigation and make progress in the investigation. You know, why is this happening? What's going on? This is the second time we've had a situation at Speedway this year regarding gun violence. And you know, you look at what causes this, and quite honestly, you say, okay, what's open at that time of night? And both of these things happened around 3 o'clock in the morning. Speedway is the only place open at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you canvass the whole way down from Hamilton Avenue, from 275 all the way down to past College Hill. Speedway is the only place that's open. All other gas stations are just fuel only, so it becomes a gathering point. It becomes a drop-off point right off of Cross County Highway. And I'm not saying Speedway is responsible, and I don't want to dictate how they do business, but this is where things are happening. And I've ran some reports for Mr. Bauer, and we have had some criminal activity. Not that they're fostering criminal activity, but if you're the only place open at town at that time, people are going to go there. And our indications are, these are obviously Mr. Simpson, who's a longtime Mount Healthy resident, was the victim. But our indications, the situations that we had and this one, these people aren't Mount Healthy residents. They're from different, around the surrounding areas. So I'm not quite sure what the answer is. I know there's different ordinances you can put in place. I've talked with the manager at Speedway, reached out to their corporate and saying, what can we do about this? Whether it's more lighting, more cameras, we restrict hours, things like that. But I'm willing to do anything to prevent this from happening. Our job is to protect our citizens. The call went out at 2:38. Our first officer arrived at 2:39. We were a minute there. By then, it was already done. So it's not, I don't think it's more officers, because we were there. We were there within a minute. You want to make this thing go away, and you want it to stop, but I want it to stop in Mount Healthy. This is my responsibility. I want to stop in Springfield Township, Colerain Township, North College Hill. This is where our partners are. We want to make this stop in the whole city of Cincinnati. I can't do everything, but we can certainly do what we can in our little area here to prevent stuff like this, try to prevent stuff like this from happening. So without going into too much detail, if anybody has any questions regarding what we're doing or how we're doing this, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Council, questions?
You have leads?
Yeah,
Okay.
we do.
Don't want to get into detail,
It's a tough case. It is a tough case, but yes. And between the technology today with different camera footage and cell phone footage and things like that, all investigative leads are being exhausted. And just when you think you might fall out a dead end, you find something else. So this is what these guys do up there. This is what they do, and they live for this stuff. I'm more than confident that we will continue, and we'll continue till we find out who's, and try to hold somebody responsible for what they did.
If anybody from the public would like to ask the chief a question, you may raise your hand and please stand up and.
Claire Stentz, I live on Martin Street. Since you said no place else is open, does that mean we have an ordinance that says everything has to be closed by a certain time? Because I know we've got a UBF. You know what I'm saying? So no place else in Mount Healthy is open after, say, 2 o'clock?
UDF closes at 1.
Okay.
The other gas station down on Hamilton Avenue across from Hilltop, they close at 1. The Maristop, they close at 2.
Okay. So But we don't have an ordinance that says you have to close at that time? I'm just asking, I don't know.
So I spoke with Law Director Scott Solomon. We passed something in 2021 restricting hours from 2:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. that you're supposed to be closed, but this is 2021, kind of a little bit before my time. I forget exactly what the context of passing this was, but it seems like it was meant more for private rentals and, you know, suites that were having event halls and just basically continuing the party past 2:30 when you're legally allowed to, and just continuing to overserve and noise complaints. Wasn't specifically meant for a convenience store. So if we wanted to pursue that route, we'd definitely have to kind of do more research with Scott Solomon on it, but I don't know if what we have currently was exactly for this situation.
So I can tell you, I had questions about that in 2021, and I asked, hey, what about Speedway, what about White Castles, places like that? And the response was, I'm not gonna say it was the height of COVID, but it was during COVID. And the response was, they're closed anyway because they can't get the help. So, and we can go back and look at the minutes, and I was like, okay, great, then.
Yeah, Scott Solomon's recollection was we put the private rental halls in there. I mean, because I think that's specifically what we were aiming at anyways, but it was also to sort of carve out convenience stores, White Castle, just so we wouldn't put ourselves up for liability against those businesses that maybe could have the staffing. So we tried to limit it to, you know, focus just on rental halls, event halls. I think that was the spirit of it.
Yeah, and I remember doing some research on some of that, especially around, you know, event centers, we'll call them. But, yeah, at the time, and going back through the verbiage again on that, it did look like it included, you know, all businesses, basically. Because we talked about, you know, Little Dutch Bakery, because obviously they aren't open to the public, but there's somebody in there working. And we were like, that's not included. If the doors are locked, it's open to retail business, so.
Right.
So I guess we got to look at it, and I'm sure there are other cities, obviously, where businesses are required to close, you know, so.
Okay, gentleman here in the white shirt, light shirt.
Good evening, everybody. I try to look at it from a very different point. How about involving the community to work with the police and do more preventive work, like training the children from as young as, so that they will not be associates to crime. It's not just here, but it works globally. So how about thinking that way?
I mean, I think we do some community outreach. We probably could do more. We work well with the schools. We have our pastor program, and we're getting involved in the churches. Yeah, but to your point, it does start at home. It really does. And, I mean, I raised my kids. I think I did a good job, but it's hard. You see these situations, and sometimes you come across these situations, and you see these young people in these tough family situations and homes, and you wonder how they're going to get out of it. You really do, and it's sad. But to your point, if we could do more, we could do more. There's a lot of programs out there. I mean, if I had all the answers, I'd probably be more than a cop. But I don't. And but your point is certainly valid, sir.
And on this, I would like to change with a kind of solution. That was one of the agendas I would like to raise later on. We can work with the children. Every parent should pitch in some hours so that we will work on all of our children and we'll have a better outcome. I'm going to come back to that when we raise the agendas. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question for the chief on this subject? Yes.
My name's Pamela Houston. My question is there any way that, you know, like Kroger's and them have security guards? Is there any way that during that night period when they're open, that they could have a security presence so that the people aren't like drawn to that area?
I brought that up. That's a great question. I brought that up to the manager at Speedway today, and he's the manager for this store. He just got here in June. He recognizes the situation. I said, do you guys do that? He said it's something that he would certainly talk to his regional and corporate about. that could be a compromise, and I think anything's on the table, but that's a really good idea.
Oh, I would think people would stop going to the Speedway if it's gonna continue
Well, you
to
want
be
the right,
that way.
you want the
Yeah,
right
especially
customers,
at
you,
night,
you get the right customers there.
Right.
Agreed. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Chief, thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Be sure you get this guy, or people, whoever.
Jerry.
Okay, we're going to move on then to, we have a special guest, another special guest, Olivia Conroy, Population Health Specialist.
Do I need to move?
You?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Did you know Richard?
Maybe if I saw his face.
Oh, goody, a slideshow. Peggy, do you want to come around this way a little bit if you wish to? Do you see it, Paul?
Yeah. I can see the computer screen.
Hi.
Okay, that would be great, yeah.
I need what?
Just don't block my view.
Should I turn the TV a little for you, council?
See that little one?
There's a screen.
Okay, here, then I'll put. Okay, hello everyone.
Hello, welcome.
Feel free. No problem.
Well, thank you for giving Hamilton County Public Health the opportunity to attend this council meeting and present on the active transportation plan in Mount Healthy, which we co-created with the Mount Healthy Steering Committee. For those who do not know me, my name is Olivia Conroy. I'm a population health specialist at Hamilton County Public Health, and I sit on the Mount Healthy's We Thrive team. This evening, I will be providing a high-level overview of the active transportation plan, and I promise to try to keep it as brief as possible, as I know there's a lot to discuss tonight. Okay. So let's start with what is active transportation. Active transportation is the term for how individuals get around without the use of traditional motorized vehicles. It is often human-powered, such as walking, biking, utilizing mobility assistance devices, or even skateboarding. Active transportation offers numerous benefits to communities, including enhanced public health outcomes, economic growth, improved quality of life, and a healthier environment overall. An active transportation plan focuses on engaging the community and establishing clear vision, goals, and strategies to enhance the safety, convenience, and accessibility of transportation options. And these plans are truly a roadmap for improved walking and bicycling conditions in communities, especially when it comes to applying for grant funding. Okay, so now let's talk about the process in creating this plan. The active transportation plan took approximately 2 years from start to presenting to council today. As you can see here, this is our timeline for the active transportation plan. Beginning in August of 2022, the initial steering committee was formed, and we worked to finalize the vision and goals for the project. The committee was made up of residents, faith-based organizations, businesses, schools, and local admin here in Mount Healthy. Throughout 2023 and 2024, the steering committee received feedback from the community on current conditions when getting around actively in the community, and we even completed a walk audit in June of 2024 to see any challenges firsthand. Utilizing a planning contractor tool design, we received project recommendations, which I will share with everyone tonight. We are now in the implementation plan phase. As I mentioned earlier, we aim to gather as much community input as possible when completing the plan. So first, in June of 2023, we attended the Ticoon Farms Free Market event. The goal of this event was to collect feedback on existing walking and bicycling conditions in Mount Healthy. We focused on identifying issues that needed attention in the community's built environment. We later returned to Ticoon Farms to engage with student volunteers using the same map to gather input from the youth perspective. Next, we worked with our consultant from the Ohio Department of Health, Tool Design, during a steering committee meeting to identify priority projects for the plan, which is where these photos were taken. Lastly, in June of 2024, on one of the hottest days of summer, the steering committee conducted a walk audit in Mount Healthy, which I will discuss soon. So here is the map from the first 2 community engagement activities at Ticoon Farms. The green dots highlight good interventions in Mount Healthy, so things residents like, while the red dots indicate places where residents would like to see improvements. This slide features photos from the walk audit we conducted. We covered about 4.5 miles. The route started at Mount Healthy High School, going to Hilltop Plaza, passing through Ticoon Farms, Mount Healthy City Park, the library, Clover Nook Apartments, and ending at the Kroger in North College Hill. During the audit, we encountered barriers that people without cars face daily, such as drivers not following traffic laws or signs, a lack of crosswalks along Hamilton Ave, and then high vehicle speeds. We even took a stroller, as you can see in this photo with Paige, to simulate rolling active transportation for those in wheelchairs or parents. The overall purpose of the walk audit was to identify pedestrian safety concerns and enhance the safety of the surrounding environment. We used 3 avenues to collect data. So first, a base map of Mount Healthy, where we mark current conditions of the street and sidewalks, which we'll see on the next few slides. The We Thrive landscape review to document those key destinations and green spaces. And 3, the AARP walk audit sheets to assess ADA compliance. So the next few slides are the maps created from the data collected during the walk audit. Hamilton County Planning and Development were the ones to create these maps, so I can't take credit. But the areas highlighted in green indicate good condition, yellow represent areas in fair condition that could benefit from repairs, and then red marks locations where either no sidewalks or sidewalks were in poor condition. So here is the middle of Mount Healthy. We cannot fit it all into one map, which is why it's separated. And then here is the bottom portion of Mount Healthy, so heading towards North College Hill and the Kroger. So what are some of the challenges we encountered on the walk audit and when receiving feedback from community members? Before we discuss challenges, let's talk about the key destinations identified during the first community mapping exercises at Ticoon Farms. So destinations identified included the closest grocery store, so Kroger, schools, community green spaces, local food pantries, and of course medical offices. Now on to challenges to active transportation. So as we saw firsthand during the walk audit, the main challenge to active transportation are high vehicle speeds, volume on traffic on main roads, lack of crosswalks, mainly on Hamilton Ave, drivers not obeying to pedestrian signs, and lack of separated bike lanes. In the active transportation plan, you will find a list of proposed project recommendations from the Ohio Department of Health's consultant Tool Design. This list was compiled through recommendations proposed in other plans designed for Mount Healthy with additions from the community engagement activities and the walk audit. The list from Tool Design was then categorized into a time frame, so short term is 1 to 2 years, medium 3 to 5 years, and long-term projects, which is 6+ years. This is a snapshot of the short-term projects, which mainly include adding crossing enhancements, for example, signage for pedestrians, pavement markings, speed bumps, curb extensions, and sidewalk improvements. Here is a snapshot of the medium-term projects, which include crossing enhancements again, adding bike facilities, which could include bike racks, bike lanes, road shoulders, and additional traffic calming measures to slow down vehicles. And lastly, the long-term projects, which again are 6+ year projects, including the repurposing of the local alleyways for walking and biking paths, and creating a path to Winton Woods, and focusing efforts on Hamilton Ave. Mount Healthy was awarded a pop-up demonstration grant from Hamilton County Public Health. A demonstration project serves as a temporary solution to calm traffic, typically low cost with easy setup and removal. With assistance from the We Thrive team, Mount Healthy selected a location for the project, ordered the necessary supplies, and plans to begin installation in the middle of the month. So before we dive into the project, I wanted to provide some data explaining why this location was chosen. This intersection recorded the highest number of crashes in Mount Healthy, excluding Hamilton Ave, since that's a state road, and it would require permission from ODOT.
Compton and Perry.
Say that again?
We're good.
Oh, okay. So if you recently driven past the intersection of Compton and Perry Street, you may have noticed some cones and wondered what they were for. Well, now you will know. So here's just a before photo of the intersection. Here is during, so with the cones up. And then here is a mock-up of the intersection after the project. So I know it's not complete yet, and please overlook my artistic skills here, but our goal is to add curb extensions to this crosswalk using paint and even adding large flower pots within that extension. This project will not only improve the safety of pedestrians, but also will add a touch of art and color to the community. So here are just a few main benefits to curb extensions. First, they make it safer for pedestrians to cross by reducing the distance and time they're in the crosswalk. Second, they improve visibility of the crosswalk to drivers through the use of the paint and the flower pots. And third, they prevent cars from parking too close to the crosswalk or blocking curb ramps, which can be dangerous for pedestrians. Not to mention, they also are shown to greatly reduce turning speeds of cars due to the narrowing of the roadway. Last but not least, what are the next steps? So Mount Healthy is already moving in the right direction when it comes to active transportation and improving pedestrian safety. Residents here are so passionate about these efforts. As you can see, one of the handouts you were given is a walker's guide that was created by 2 members of the Mount Healthy We Thrive team, one being here, Aaron. The team has also discussed starting monthly walks, continuing the Mulberry Tree Walk, and expanding Mount Healthy Schools 5K to community members this year. So they're really excited to support the efforts when it comes to active transportation. Did you want to do a brief overview of the pamphlet? Okay.
You'll have to pardon me, I've been a little under the weather, so my voice is still a little in and out. My name is Aaron Horsley, I live on Maple Avenue. This project is a brainchild of mine for a couple of years. And then recently, once we obtained grant funds to be able to finish it, Alex, over there in the back, he has worked with me for the last year to put this together. Could not have done it without him. So this guide, kind of like what Olivia was talking about, is a part of the active transportation program. It's meant to show residents the best way to get to all the different points of interest at Mount Healthy. So everything from City Hall to our Historical Society, the public library at the new location, the pocket parks, Heritage Park, free public Wi-Fi locations, and the list goes on. So inside here, you'll see a map front and back. It's split between the north end and the south end of Mount Healthy, split along Compton. Then it also includes a QR code that you can scan and pull it up directly on Google Maps. So for those who don't want to use paper. And then the original page of the pamphlet kind of tells a little bit about the history of Mount Healthy. Also talks about Mount Healthy's history in the Underground Railroad. Let's see. And then it also kind of explains a little bit more on what I've been talking about with the Walker's Guide. And then on the back, it explains the Forest Avenue Renewal Project, which it's also, for those of you who may not know, it's another volunteer group that's working in Mount Healthy to restore the Forest Avenue Wetland Park. And our contact information is below there. We actually went around to a lot of the businesses here in Mount Healthy, and we were pleasantly surprised that we had overwhelming support. So we ordered pamphlet holders to go with all of the pamphlets. And we have 11 businesses that have buy-in, Square Mile Coffee, Goodies, Native Moon Apothecary, the Public Library Branch, Fibonacci Brewing Company, Aquatics and Exotics, Little Dutch Bakery, Ticoon Farm, obviously here at City Hall, and the Mount Healthy Historical Society. So each one of those locations will be given a pamphlet holder and certain allotment of pamphlets, and we'll keep those resupplied. We started the order with 200 for now, but we also just recently learned that we have some surplus grant funds that we intend to buy more of these pamphlets to continue giving them out to the community. So it's something we're very proud of and very excited.
Thank you, Erin. Just to wrap it up, in addition to all the other efforts around active transportation, some key next steps include to finalize the installation of the pop-up demonstration grant project at Compton and Perry, and collect feedback from the community on whether they like the project, if they want to see it permanent or not, discuss the adoption of the active transportation plan, which, like I said, will serve as a strong advocacy tool for securing grant funding. Then, if the plan is adopted, initiate the search for funding and start working on those priority projects outlined in the plan. And that is all I have for today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
Council, questions?
I do have a question for both Scott and you. Are we going to interface some of this with the Hamilton Avenue project for Nature Works?
So, next Wednesday, 6 PM is the Human Nature.
Human Nature,
Yeah,
I'm
Human
sorry.
Nature,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I thought you were mentioning. The streetscape, it's kind of much aligned with this. Have I talked to you about Human Nature, the streetscape study we're doing?
I think the mayor has a little bit on the We Thrive team.
Alex is on the committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about it,
So the goal is to meet next Wednesday for our second meeting.
Yeah, I think that definitely will align nicely with the active
yeah,
transportation
discussing.
plan, from what I've heard.
Yeah, similar things, so.
Okay, so we're talking to each other, so they both,
I go to all
Work
the We
in.
Thrive meetings, and I will tell you, there's probably 15 maybe or more community people in the county that come, and so anybody is welcome. It's always the third Tuesday at 5 o'clock. They meet up in the gathering space at Trinity right now, and the neighborhood cooperation and input has been pretty fabulous. So if you don't have a committee meeting before the next council meeting and you want to come up and visit at 5 o'clock, Scott's been to the meetings, and we're trying to make sure that that communication piece is going on, and Alex is a crucial part of that.
So I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, I did forward some information from you to Human Nature. So,
Yep.
some of the information just showed.
Yeah, thank you.
I already got some.
Yep, thanks.
great, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, everyone.
Council,
Thank you.
questions? Claire? It's okay, one of you.
Okay. I've lived here for 36 years, and I walk all over the city.
Oh, awesome.
That intersection, when there was a light there was no problem.
Mm-hmm.
I have watched people with those barriers up almost collide because they're trying to get around them, and they're still not stopping. Isn't there any way to just bring the light back and not put the barriers up? I mean, I watched the barriers down in College Hill and that, and people
Mhm.
don't care. The light, people stopped, and you could cross the street. And most of these people that I know here know I walk everywhere in the city. That is the only place there's no light, and people don't care about that little flashing.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
understand what you're trying to do, but even with what they've got up there right now, people are just.
Yeah, I'd
they
say
don't
we
care.
saw on the walk audit, we went to that intersection, and we tried to cross the street with the flashers, and cars did not stop, so. And I know there used to be a light there, which,
I wish we could bring back,
yeah,
to be honest.
yeah. But hopefully, with the demo projects, we can try to improve that a little bit, because, yeah, I know the light obviously helped a lot with crossing.
The state of Ohio told us we didn't need a light there. And we would have to pay to put it in, and it was a lot of money.
What happened, it just, they don't have a clue.
We were also talking a year ago about putting speed humps and I don't know why they're not in yet.
They're on order.
I'm sorry?
They're on order. I don't know if we're gonna put them on in that particular intersection.
Well, we talked about it last year.
We talked about it, but we never came up with a discussion, a decision, really. I mean,
Okay.
is that what we should do? Then maybe we need to do it. I think we need to go to have a safety committee and to look at these things, because you're absolutely right, Bob. You know, maybe that's one of the things we need to look at, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Young man in the front row.
If I remember well, I mentioned last meeting, the crossing, which goes coming to Ronald Reagan Highway. That is very, people cross there with their wheelchairs, with grocery, children, so it's really dangerous. People don't care, as I said earlier, I did my own research, standing there for a while. 8 out of 10, if not 9 out of 10, motorists do not need it. I the light green for pedestrians, they keep zooming and going on. So there should be some violation of traffic law.
Yeah, and we went in that area too on the walk audit and definitely experienced that.
Okay, anybody else have a question? No? Olivia, thank you very much
Great,
for coming
thank
out.
you.
And all your hard work.
You just unplug it.
Okay, we're going to move along to public input. Anybody who would like to address council on the other subject?
Do we own that sign? But all more color.
Next time, we're going to get one of those and come up. Anyway, hi, everybody. Vicki Sturworth and David here. We live at 1590 Adams Road, and...
Can I stop a minute? We just want to say our problem is peanuts compared to
Correct.
what's going on in the city.
Over by Speedway, although I do want to, I should have said something, you know, to the police commander, but I know that my son lives on St. Clair, and he said, I wanted to give him kudos, that they went house to house, is what I heard, and they made sure everybody was okay on St. Clair. And so I was like, that's great, that's great. And I should have spoke up, but I was afraid I was going to break down and cry like I'm going to do now, so. So anyway, you know, we were out of town last.
Yeah, our favorite place to escape our problems has been destroyed, so.
Yeah. Yeah, down in Florida is where we were with, you know, their hurricane. So anyway, yeah, we missed a council meeting, but then we caught up on it. And we just wanted to correct a lot of stuff that Tim Klink has said that wasn't true, because we're biting at the bit down there, and I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to start way back to let you guys kind of know, you know, David's been a lifelong resident, okay? He's been a resident of 1590 Adams Road since 1979. I joined in at 1980, so we kind of know what we're talking about when we talk about United Dairy Farmers. And originally it was 2 houses on Adams Road, and then it was the Sunoco Bloom's Towing Company, which is Kurt Bloom's dad's business. So, and then that's when UDF came over, and I don't know, you can jump in any time. Oh, okay, what I wanted to say, yeah, too, is that, you know, we've been fighting this since 2019, when my car first got hit. And then, you know, one thing that Tim Kling did say, he's, you know, we never met him till just recently. And David's the one who, you know, we called him up several times, invited him to several of the council meetings, he denied. And David's the one who requested the on-site meeting. Now, naturally, it came at 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning, when there's no traffic there. And also, I want to see, I wrote all these notes down when we were looking at the, at the video, so. And the other times, I wanted to say too, is that he kept referring to as the drunks going through. My car got hit in the afternoon. There's, and then the other incidents happened in the afternoon between 2 and 3-ish. We got police reports, we got, that one time when my car did get totaled, that was at 2 or 3 in the morning. And that was somebody cutting through so they didn't have to stay at the light on
No.
Hamilton Avenue.
And there is video of that. You can look at the police report. And at that time, we requested just shutting off at nighttime. At that time, Mr. Kling became very unagreeable to anything we had to say. And, we were willing to work with him many years. And at that point, he says, well, we put a chain up and they hit it, we'll get sued. I don't care if they get sued. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We had 2 payments left on that car. And the first one, we had to pay, our deductible, which was $500 at the time. I don't know if we even came up here at that time. And then when it was totaled, we lost, I don't know, at least the deductible with the 2 payments, we had to buy a used car. There has been much suffering for us. So they got sued because somebody came through and hit their, whatever they did
Their
for
chain.
their problem. To correct their problem, I don't care. That's the way it is right now. I'm tired of, you're tired of hearing of us, I'm tired of the whole situation.
Another thing we wanted to bring up, he mentioned that there was an exit there from the alley all along. There was never an exit there till they built this recently. And when was that? That was in 2019, 2018.
2018.
Is when they opened up the alley. And like I said, I keep asking over and over and over again, did UDF get permission from the city to open that up into that? And also, just to state that, our house was built in 1890. We are the 3rd residents of this house. And that's been our driveway. That's been those people, the others' driveway since then. We have no way in front of Adams Road or anything to.
That's the only access to our
That's
property.
the only access to our property. And
Anyway, there has been a Sturworth resident on that alley for 100 years. We've paid property taxes, income taxes, et cetera, for 100 years. I don't care about $4.5 million investment that they make profit out of. We allowed them to build that store, and they made a profit. And I'm going to quote him. He says, "The sad little store we replaced." Well, the reason they replaced that sad little store is because it was profitable. And, I have no sympathy for him or that corporation anymore. I'm sorry. They've been good neighbors up to a point, and then anymore, they're just
both of our
awful.
sons work there.
Yeah, I wrote all this down, but it's going too long. I mean, it's in the safety committee's hands, and, the count was done. There hasn't been a second count as far as I know. They did extend the speed bump. We asked for that in 2019.
But it's flat. There's not.
So they're not
People
making the
are
wide
still-
turn anymore, so but we've asked for this a long time ago and got no cooperation. The stop sign he talked about on the telephone pole that said it was there since they built it, no. If you go through there, you don't see that stop sign. So, here we are again, and we didn't have a chance to be here last meeting, so we're taking up time. And I was like, I heard you talk earlier, just make a decision, one way or another. If it goes either way, we have a solution anyway, so.
Yeah.
we're-
And just to let you know also that when they were digging up everything in front of the gas station, to make the pumps and the parking lot, the alley, when they were doing it, all that, it kind of damaged the roots of our tree in front, and you notice that our tree is like laying over still. And by luck, it did not go out in the street or go, into our house or nothing else like that. But it was the tearing up that killed this, this tree was alive, and half of it started dying, and that's when it, from their side, from digging up. And,
The other
oh,
thing.
one thing too, the boulders, remember, he mentioned,
Solutions he said for us, to extend our parking lot. I got my truck back, and from the back of my truck to the white lines on the alley, there's at least 3 feet. So I don't want to give up any more property. We already extended the parking area that used to be gravel, and now it's blacktop, so we've already added to it. And,
it'll just make them make a wider turn
And
and come
go
into the
faster.
property and go faster.
And then as far as bollards, how would you guys like it to put bollards in your driveway? And when you had your grandchildren come over, you had to go outside
out
and
there.
remove them. I mean, that's not a
That's
solution.
what he's offering, and we offered him to put them on their property to make it more narrow coming out, because we originally said, you don't need to close up this alley, just take care of it to slow the people down to come around. Well, now, we want it closed up because they're not cooperating with us, and,
So
but
whatever
whatever,
decision you guys make, please make a
Yeah.
decision, because we're
Yeah.
tired. You're tired of seeing us, I'm
We're
sure.
just-
And we got other situations to deal with,
yeah,
so.
yeah,
And
and,
like I
the
said,
city, yeah, we gotta take care of this, I think.
Ours is peanuts. Just make a decision. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Vicki, thank you.
Do we have,
Anybody else who would like to address the
do
council?
we have a work session scheduled for after the next meeting?
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, and we'll be gone for the next meeting again. So, but we'll be,
Send Joellen back up. She did a good job.
Well, we could extend it to the next meeting. Are you going to be back November 5th? Well, I'm just saying, I mean, if you weren't, just to give you the opportunity.
How many times have you been here?
Well, it's true. That's absolutely right. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
yeah, but we just wanted to stick up from what we heard, and we're like, that's not what went down, that's not what went down, so.
Okay, thank you, guys. Come on up, young lady.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jacqueline with the Mount Healthy Alliance, and thank you for having me. Wanted to take this opportunity, one, to say thank you to each and every one of our community members and everyone on our board that makes it possible for our food pantry to continue to serve over 1,400 individuals a month. So we thank you for that. I also wanted to come and let you all know that Mount Healthy Alliance will be partnering with the Healthcare Connections to bring health and wellness sessions to our churches. Starting this Sunday, we'll be going with all of our partner churches. So this Sunday, we will be at the Mount Healthy United Methodist Church, October the 6th, starting at 10 a.m. Someone will be there from Healthcare Connections updating the congregations on new programming. They'll have vision service now and hearing testing. So they have some new services that they're going to be bringing to our Healthcare Connection here in Mount Healthy. They've had some of these services at some of the other locations, but now they'll also be at the Mount Healthy to serve the Mount Healthy community. And then I also, so that'll be taking place, let me slow down, at all of the churches starting this Sunday, October the 6th, at Mount Healthy United Methodist Church, then working its way to some of the other churches. Revelation, I believe, is the 13th, and so on Trinity Lutheran and some of the other churches in our local community. So if you're not a member of that church or any of those churches and would like to go, invite the community to go. And then I also wanted to say that Aaron forgot to mention that the walking maps will also be a part of the poetry displays that will be out throughout the community. These will be in those displays, in particular at Tikkun Farm and some of our local businesses around the neighborhood. So Fibonacci's, Ticoon Farm, the Wetlands, the Dairy Bar, and just to name a few. And we're working on some other locations, I believe, to put the displays up. Along with the maps will be some of our students, local students, that have participated in our poetry writing sessions and creative writing sessions. So those will be posted and displayed throughout the community, and hope to engage the community in a positive way. And more to come on our opening ceremony that we have scheduled for October 26th at Ticoon Farm. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to address council? That's the black mayor. Okay. Then we'll move on to the mayor's report. Ms. Moody.
Yes, I'm going to defer some of the information to Mr. Bauer this evening. I hate to bring this up again, but I'm going to bring it up. I attended the prayer at the flagpole at North College Hill after their second shooting outside of their football game, and I went there. And I felt that being a neighboring community was important, that to show support. I will tell you that that community is pretty devastated by the fact that those football players cannot play any more home games. They were pretty devastated by it. And the people I was with at the flagpole are pretty upset about the issues that are happening in their community. And at that time, I had said, and I was not there to be, it wasn't about me, it was about that community, but I wanted to show support from Mount Healthy. And I told them, you know, we've had incidences in our community, and hopefully we will not be, you know, that this could very well happen in Mount Healthy. Well, guess what? It did. And I will tell you that I live near Speedway. And as a resident, I'm fearful of what goes on there during the night. You talk about safety issues. This is a big safety issue up there. And the police chief, they're doing an outstanding job. But to know that that's the only place that's open all night, and I will tell you, when my windows are open in the summer, what goes on up there can happen at any time. So I didn't hear much from you tonight at council, but I will say that I think a safety committee needs to be formed. We need to look at all the safety issues. We had a crash up here on Hamilton Avenue today that took out a light. Person ran the stoplight, could have went into one of the buildings. Somebody could have been walking down the street. So when we're looking at safety issues, we really need to look at this, and we really need to decide what we can do. Can we solve this issue? It's going to be difficult. No, we can't solve it, but we owe the residents in this town, and I know you agree with me, to be looking at what we can do to make this, make people feel safer, or at least know that we're doing something. I know that cameras that used to have cameras years ago that could catch people going through red lights, and it was outlawed. Well, they're legal again. And part of it is that the state takes the most of the funds that you get from citing people. But I think that we need to be looking at what legally we can do when we have people just running stop signs on Hamilton Avenue, or stoplights on Hamilton Avenue. We talk about how dangerous it is to walk. I'm a walker too. But I think we need to look at a lot of issues in this city and what we can do. I know when you go through College Hill, I get a lot of complaints. Please don't make it look like College Hill, where you got speed, you've got a bump every, 10 feet or something. But I understand why they did it, and I just think that we need to look at this closely. And the gentleman who died happened to be Peggy Rissel's neighbor. Yes. And my kids knew him. He grew up in this town. It could have been any one of our kids. It could have been any one of us. And for that to happen to him, it's tragic. And I thank that the police chief and Pastor Washington went to visit the family this afternoon to see what could be done, what the community could do to support their grief. Nothing's going to change what they went through, but I just want to appeal to council to look at a lot of the safety issues that we have here in town and to see what we can do to, whether it's through an ordinance or whatever, that we can do to at least have our residents feel like that we're trying to do whatever we can do to stop what's going on, because it's happening everywhere. Okay, now I just want to say, let's make a focus onto something positive here. Fibonacci is in a competition, and Thursday night they will know whether they've won. They're a finalist in the Brewers Philanthropic Award. They're a nano brewery. They have a farmer's market. A farmer's market will be happening this Sunday, and if you can come and support that, it's a wonderful event. They have SNAP and Produce Perks, so people can, with their SNAP and Produce Perks cards, get some of the produce that is at our farmers market. They have a seed swapping station where people can swap for seeds when they're planting. They have free Wi-Fi. They have an ant flow program, a little free library with diverse books, and they now grow ingredients on the farm that is incorporated into their beer. They're one of the few in the nation that do this as a nano brewery. They have chickens, goats, honeybees, and the winner will be announced this Thursday. And if they don't win, I think we should still be proud of what they're doing down there at Fibonacci and the fact that having a farmer's market is a hard thing to maintain. It's very hard to get people to come and to be there, and so it's important that we can support them. Also want to say that Haunted Hall is going to be starting or has started. It is like, now you guys know it's what, 34 years it's been in operation, I believe. It's the only nonprofit haunted hall in operation, I believe, in the area now. And of course, it's, what? Right. It's an awesome, yeah. For those who like haunted halls, it's great. And also American Legacy Tours, they are doing haunted tours now. A lot of their sessions are sold out, so that's exciting. And I know that they are formulating other history tours that will be taking place in 2025 here in Mount Healthy. So that's all I have, because Mr. Bauer has other information he's going to be giving you. So thank you, Council.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Questions?
2 comments on your first agenda. We do have a safety committee.
Yes.
Okay, you said
Yes,
we
we
should
do.
form
I was going to address that.
And,
Well, I'm sorry, you could tell I was a little passionate about all this.
and second of
because-
all, we have Human Nature. We're paying them a good chunk of money now to look at traffic calming on Hamilton, or in the city, primarily Hamilton Avenue, I think. And
Yeah.
so we are working on that.
Sure, absolutely. But I do think with a safety committee, it would be nice to be able to look at all of the information. That's just my suggestion. Take it or leave it.
Any other questions for the mayor? Okay, city manager, Scott Bauer.
Guess I'll start with what the mayor was referring to. So we have a facade improvement program. We got a grant in the last CDBG window for $50,000 that went to Angelo's, successful project. We have another $100,000 through the county that is now available for us. We'd like to open it up to the community. We'll have a grant application available on the website that anyone really in the business corridor can apply for. It can be for new awning, shutters, paint. We're not talking about real big infrastructure, hundreds of thousands of dollars, but little things that can just help make Hamilton Avenue look a little brighter and fresher and cleaner. And so that'll be hopefully in the next week, be available on the website. We'll put a link to it, maybe put some advertisements up at some of the other businesses just to get the word out. Let's see here. Construction up here at the Perry lot is hopefully almost done. I think the hole's been filled in. It took forever to get the water to shut off. Waterworks came out, had issues, but I think we've got the water closed off, and that'll be, put some blacktop down on it this week. The Bernard House, that's still upcoming. Scott Solomon and Bill Knight wanted to talk a little more through just the, if you're gonna tear a house down, we just wanna make sure you've crossed all your T's, dotted all your I's, but that's still in the works. Let's see, the Compton Perry that we talked about, that demonstration project we're planning for the next council meeting to do the actual demonstration of what we have done and kind of what the goals of it are before the next council meeting. So October 15th, anyone that would want to show up, just be like half hour or so before council. You can just kind of check it out.
Who's doing that?
Myself, Justin, We Thrive. I guess we'll have a little party out there, I guess.
Up at the corner?
Yeah, just right at the intersection. So that'll be October 15th. Let's see. So Jim Lowenberg, you brought up the aggregation last meeting. I did talk to our consultants. You know, being a few months here that we'll be talking about our electrical aggregation renewal. They said they would reach out to all the different suppliers and ask if they do allow net metering. I mean, ultimately, the issue is, as our consultants claim, is that the state code says you should not allow net metering into your aggregation programs. So that it is up to each supplier to then have a process to let you in. That is what our consultants told me. I'm happy to invite them here to have a conversation with them about net metering, but they said they would at least include that in their, they send out a letter to all the different suppliers and ask different questions. They said that would be a question they would ask, is if net metering would be allowed in the program. So they'll at least ask the question, and we can, I guess, kind of cross that bridge when we get there in a few more months here. Tecan Farm, we've been working with them with reconstructing their building. Sounds like they're getting pretty close. I know Gordon has shared with me some of their plans, so getting excited about that. And then I kind of mentioned it before, the next Human Nature Steering Committee meeting will be next Wednesday at 6. So I'll kind of send an email out to a lot of the other businesses that were here that participated in that. But really, it's open to anybody that would like to come, and you kind of give ideas as to how you can improve Hamilton Avenue, the walkability of it, just make it safer, more friendly for people to come and visit. I forgot to write that.
About the Eagles sign.
So our new sign is fine. They told me, I didn't check, they said that it was re-leveled. When they first installed it, you could tell it was just a slight bit off, but it's up and running. I know we've got one of our movie night advertised.
Yep.
Good. We had a big thank you Eagles on there. So we'll start utilizing that now, but it's up and running in color. Good resolution to it, looks good, looks great. Yeah, excited about that. It's at Heritage Park next to the fountain. So you come off of Reagan, come north, and you'll see it. Yeah. Yep, no problem. Donated by the Eagles, so very, very appreciative of that. That's all that I have.
Thank you, Mr. Bauer. Do you have any questions?
Sure. The CDBG facade grants, so is that going to be matching, or they can just apply for an amount?
We will see how many apply and exactly what projects are applied for. We've had 3 so far apply, and it's enough that it wouldn't cover, like everyone wouldn't get covered. So we'll either have to come up with a scoring system or just say, just kind of divvy it up based on the projects that are applied for. But we're creating a ranking system, and we'll have some people that are kind of on the committee to approve each project. But more than likely, we're going to have more than what's available in the pot applied for. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean.
Working with the county.
Yeah.
We're working with the county.
Yeah,
on
I
it.
mean, the county has provided suggestions.
They give us guidance.
Yeah, first time offering this to the community, so still kind of working out exactly what the criteria will be, but.
I think maybe they could get more points if they offered to pay a quarter or a third.
They're going to put some money into it.
Right.
Any other questions for Mr. Bauer? Thank you, sir. We have with us tonight the Fire Department, Mr. Chief, Steve Lawson, the Chief.
Good evening. In front of you, we have the July through September fire and EMS report. We made a total of 483 runs through those 3 months, broke down to 448 EMS runs and 35 fire runs. We also did 7 inspections, 3 CPR classes, and we're improving. We're kind of short on staffing, so that's hindering us from getting more fire inspections completed. So bear with us. We are trying to work through it. Any questions?
The 4 building fires, were those all in Mount Healthy?
There was one that was in Mount Healthy. The other ones were
mutual aid.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Does the fire department take volunteers who would like to work together? There are people who,
We do not have a program for that. Kind of limited on what we can do.
Is the grant that we're requesting, that's supposed to be
We
known by
did not-
November?
We did not receive the grant.
Sorry, we did not.
We did not receive the assistance to firefighter grant for the fire engine, and we did not receive the grant for the SAFER grant
Safer.
for the employees.
Looks like our mutual aid received is quite a bit higher than what is given.
Yes, and that's because of our manpower, our
Staffing.
personnel. We'd like to be at a minimum of 4. That kind of helps us getting our second squad out. But we've been running with 3, and a lot of the third one is being provided with an overtime person. So we have, we just hired a full-time person. We lost one back in July. We just replaced her with Jaden Mudd, and we will be swearing him in soon. We have 3 part-time new part-time firefighter EMTs. One's a medic that have recently started with us. So we are trying to advertise that, we're hiring, but so is the rest of the world in fire and EMS here in this region.
Any questions for the chief? Is that all, Chief?
Yes,
Thank you very much for coming up, sir.
thank you.
Ordinances and resolutions. We have the second reading of an ordinance and the first reading of a resolution. We'll start with the second reading of the ordinance. Ordinance number 24-2049. An ordinance to amend chapters 155.091, the general provisions, building and structures of the Mount Healthy Code of Ordinances.
See, there should have been a fresh copy of this put on your desks. I think if you have your original one, it doesn't quite have the wording the way it should be, but the new one should be good. It now says residential and commercial property. It also says right-of-way, which one was it? In C, in item 2, right-of-way and/or roadway. I believe everything's been updated, the items, and I also attached the permit. You're not approving the permit as part of the ordinance, but this is the permit that we have at the front desk that they will come in, and describes all the things they should do to make it safe, putting on plywood and where exactly it can be placed.
Looks good.
Questions, council? Well, if we have no more questions, I would ask for a motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance number 24-2049.
Okay, Mr. Young has made a motion to adopt, and Ms. Rissel has seconded the motion. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Lingo?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Mr. Redding?
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa?
Aye.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mrs. Rissel?
Okay, by a vote of 7-0, ordinance number 24-2049 is approved. We have a resolution. Where did it go? Ah, there it is. Resolution number 24-1223. A resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary sales levy or tax levies and certifying them by the county auditor. Resolution 24-1223.
This is one we do every year. It's just part of levying property taxes. If you look at the schedule on the back of the resolution, it, kind of that top box in the top left will detail out all the different property tax levies that we have. Process begins in June when we pass the tax budget. We submit that to the county. They hold a budget meeting themselves and kind of do their calculation as to how much they believe they'll collect, and this is what they come up with, and this is just checking the box to say that we've approved it, and then this is roughly what we'll get next year. What's listed on here is what I use in the budget as well. I mean, we're obviously not guaranteed to get what they have listed there. There could be delinquents or just various changes in the values of properties, but this is what they're expecting to collect.
When does this have to be filed?
I believe I want to say it's the 20th. I would appreciate, Melanie would also appreciate one reading. I mean, everything looks in order, the amounts, you know, this is about what we expect. I mean, we're kind of at their, frankly, we're at their mercy as to how they calculate it, but these look like what we've expected in the past, so.
Questions, council? Yes,
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the two reading rule.
Okay, we have a motion to suspend the two reading rule. Ms. Rissel seconded.
Mrs. Lingo?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Mr. Redding?
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa? Mr. George?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mrs. Rissel?
Aye.
Okay, by a vote of 7-0, the two reading rule's been suspended. Are there any other questions regarding this ordinance resolution? Okay, Ms. Dosa has made a motion to adopt,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Parsons.
Mrs. Lingo?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Mr. Redding?
Aye.
Mrs. Dosa? Mr. George?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mrs. Rissel?
Aye.
Okay, by a vote of 7-0, ordinance number 24-1223 is adopted. Old business.
I'd like to talk about Forest Avenue, the road work that was done up there. I drove up there today. It's finished, and I'm extremely disappointed in what was done up there. Between Stevens and Madison, they put curbs and they put sidewalk on one side, not both. And then beyond Madison, no curbs, no sidewalks at all. That's not the way we do streets. Was that JMA engineering, or was that what the contractor decided to do?
I mean, ultimately it is JMA, but it was based on the geography, topography of the land. They just couldn't get, there's no stormwater down on that half of Forest or on Madison. The closest one is on Park in Lindale, I believe, is the nearest stormwater connection, and then maybe Forest and Hoffman. So there just wasn't water. So
Well-
having curbs without the stormwater didn't make
The
sense.
street looks terrible. I don't think it's even straight. And
The
I know the
southern
yellow
portion?
lines going down aren't straight, but
You mean the southern portion or the entire length of it?
especially from Madison down the southern portion. That's
Madison
not
down
what
to the
I
dead end.
envisioned at all when we did that, and we paid $1.2 million or $1.3 million for that in Madison, and we certainly didn't get our money's worth.
Okay.
That Ed Letter, or was that, what's the other company?
Who the actual contractors were? Was that one Adlita?
What's the other company?
I think I've got it on my sheet here. Neiman. Harrison was Adlita.
Okay, so
I mean, the goal.
this was Neiman.
Correct, Forest Madison was Neiman, yeah.
Certainly not up to their standards.
I mean, the goal was to get sidewalks throughout, but just on the southern portion of Madison, south of Madison, it just the lay of the land did not work without having water and a proper place to have the water run off.
Well, I mean, there's nothing we can do about it now, but I'm certainly not happy with the job that was done. It's not what, I mean, that's the thing that should be
They didn't have sidewalks before.
communicated, I think.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, any other old business? You're gonna make me ride up there and look at it, aren't you, Bob? Any other old business, council? New business? Mr. Redding?
So I would like to call a safety meeting for next Tuesday, October the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th. So ongoing safety meetings at 6 PM. That's for the safety committee, and I believe that's Bob and Paul are on those committees, or are on that committee.
Can you repeat those dates, Joe?
It will be every Tuesday night in October at 6 PM.
After tonight.
After tonight.
What's the topic?
Oh, multiple topics. So we'll talk about additional flock cameras in the city. We'll talk about traffic control, where we need speed humps. And I've talked to the chief a couple of times about this, but I've been wanting to meet with somebody from the state liquor board to find out what we can do. And I know he's working on getting a date for us. We'll also be working on the UDF issue.
What we can do about what for the state liquor board?
We'll see what we can do from the state liquor board about how we can control, because a lot of our issues are coming from our bars. So we're gonna take a close look at that, a very close look at that. So in some of the research I've done, we have some options. We'll also look at doing a moratorium on any new event centers for the next year. I've also talked to Gordon about that.
Passed the first time.
We'll put that under safety also. Speed humps, we'll put that under safety. And stumping streets, if we think that it's stumping streets off to making them a dead end. So it's tougher for criminals to get in and out of the city.
Thank you, Joe.
Not a problem.
If I can do anything to help you, just let me know.
Nope, not a problem. These
We're
are
both retired, right?
We are both retired, but we aren't old.
That's
So, and we'll look at the traffic control, and this has been going on, and we've talked about this, guys. I mean, some of these things we've talked about already, and especially the speed humps, we've talked in work sessions and that. But now we'll get definite answers. And we'll include whether we put a light up again at Perry and Compton. Whether the state pays for it or not. That's off the table now. So let's knock them out. We'll get them done.
So if there's any, I mean, you can get with me after, if there's any kind of data reports, like, Olivia put up the spreadsheet with the crash data. I mean, I've got the last 2 years plotted out on a map.
Yeah.
Like if there's, anything
I
like
will-
that you get with me or Jerry and,
Yep, I will get with you. I will give you a quick call tomorrow afternoon.
And We Thrive kept saying, because they have a person from the county, Joe, that comes to those We Thrive meetings, and they kept saying that there could be funding out there for sidewalks and other things, so, you wonder. But I can certainly work with you in asking them also what other funding's out there for some of these issues.
And part of this, obviously, as we roll along, it'll be traffic calming, and I'll put the priority together for next week, and we'll do a couple at a time. And we'll have definitive answers. So, good enough?
Joe, you said 6.
6 PM.
Okay, we have a park commission meeting on the 15th. Are you going to hold it here? What time? 6?
We'll either hold it in council chambers or right there in the room right next
Did you hear
door.
what I just said? We
I'm
have a
sorry.
park commission meeting on the 15th from here.
Okay.
So hold over there.
Yeah, but I'm not on parks.
No, but you're saying you're going to have a safety committee meeting. but
Yes.
You already have one scheduled for the 15th for park commission in here. I'm just
Okay.
forewarning
Yeah, so we'll
you.
just move it over there and to the side. Yeah, not a problem.
I was just forewarning you.
Yeah, plenty of office space. So, there's a little meeting room right over here outside of council chambers.
You are on parks commission, so don't say
No,
that.
I'm not on parks.
Yes, you are.
I don't think so. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But
Anyway.
Okay. So anyway, I will send out an agenda for the first meeting next Tuesday.
Okay, thank you. I know you have a question, sir.
I was just to raise a suggestion. How about petitioning the public so that to put pressure on people to decide to put the right, so that the county, necessarily the state, maybe the federal government will just say that this is people's life, right? So what else is more valuable than life? If you cannot spend money for such preventive measures, what would we put our money on?
You have him speak at the podium.
Yeah. Well, he's wearing a mask. It's hard to speak through.
You speak at the.
So the issue is, how about petitioning, collecting petitions from the community, which we presented to the people who decide to put the fund, to put the light on.
It's really governed by, it's a petition with people.
I don't think you're going to get anybody to pay for it other than us.
I think it's a state. It's already regulated through the state, I believe.
They're going to come back in and
Good
pay for
idea.
the light.
Yep, they're not going to pay for it.
Right,
So-
they're not gonna pay.
So that's fine. We'll do it ourselves.
Well, if we have to do that, yeah, if that's what you decide, yes.
Yep. I mean, that's pretty much what we did at Compton and Elizabeth. They recommended that we not leave that one up at Compton and Elizabeth.
Okay. Any other new business, council?
This is actually old, but we do have a work session after our next council meeting to discuss the UDF and the alley.
Yep, so we'll cover that one first. Just so the rest of council knows how safety feels about it.
Old business, counselor? New business, I'm sorry. Denise?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Ms. Lingo has made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Bristol, beat you to it. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned.